newly unveiled letter from the office of former President Barack Obama, written back in March, now leaking out, privately bashing Senate Republicans for investigating former Vice President Joe Biden and his son in Ukraine, claiming the investigation was giving, quote unquote, credence to a Russian misinformation campaign. Joining us now is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Why do you think Barack Obama is weighing in? Do you fear there's something they're trying to hide here?
Yeah, there's been rumors for quite a while that people within the Obama administration knew about the corruption problems with Hunter Biden, that they warned the vice president and maybe even the president about it. I think that there could be a smoking gun, that there's actually a record of some of these complaints that were going on at the time. There have been some articles written quoting unnamed sources saying that they were assistants and people around Joe Biden at the time were saying this Hunter Biden thing looks bad and you should really put a stop to it, and they never did. But I think even President Obama knew about this, so it's not surprising to me that he would try to keep a lid on it and not let any records come to the public.
Well, and as you remember, in Adam Schiff's investigation, there was that testimony from George Kent, I believe, the diplomat, who said that he went to the Obama-Biden team, essentially, particularly Vice President Biden's staff privately, way back then when they were still in office, and said this could be a real problem, a conflict of interest, and he said it was largely ignored. Here's a quote from the letter, former President Obama writing, "The current request is not a proper use in terms of documents that Republicans want. It arises out of efforts by some, actively supported by Russia, to shift the blame for Russian interference in the 2016 election in Ukraine. In the interest of countering the misinformation campaign underlying this request, we were prepared on this occasion to provide the committee's access." What are your thoughts on whether you're ever going to get answers about Hunter Biden's dealings, not just in Ukraine, but places like China?
You know, I know Ron Johnson is looking into this and I think really is trying to find the truth about this. I think what you have found is that every time we look into the corruption of Hunter Biden, the other side says, oh, no, this is, the Russians interfered in our election, not Hunter Biden in Ukraine. But no one's really saying that Russia didn't interfere in the election or that Russia and Ukraine couldn't have tried to interfere in the election. But the one thing that probably had more effect on the election, or threatened to have more effect on the election, was, the firing of the Trump campaign chairman over things that came out of Ukraine. These documents were released on purpose from some secret notebook saying that the former chairman had been paid by entities in Ukraine.
Yep.
That probably was more damaging as any of the released emails on Hillary Clinton.
Two quick questions. You're back to work, obviously, on Capitol Hill, the Senate back in session. I want to get to FISA in a moment, but first let's talk about a fourth stimulus plan. Your colleague from Kentucky, the leader, Mitch McConnell, is saying he has sort of a wait-and-see approach. And you've been very critical of a lot of government spending. Are we going to see a fourth stimulus, or do you think you're going to wait and see how the first three are working?
To people ask me, I remind them that we have no money. We have no rainy day account. We have no savings account. The $3 trillion that we've already passed out is imaginary money. It's being borrowed basically from China. So the irony is we got the virus from China, and now we're going to be more dependent by borrowing more money from China. The only thing that recovers our economy is opening the economy. It's not a lack of money, it's a lack of commerce. If you let people have commerce, if you let them trade, if you take them out from forcible home arrest, our economy will recover. But if you keep everybody under home arrest and say you cannot practice your business, you cannot sell your goods, there will continue to be economic calamity. And all these blue state governors who don't want to open their state, now they're clamoring for federal money to bail them out because no state revenue is coming in.
Senator,
we don't have any money.
Absolutely. Senator, last question. Before the pandemic, you were very vocal about saying you were not going to allow a renewal of the FISA surveillance law unless there was real reform. The Attorney General says he needs it, that he believes, it's a terrorist tool. He has to have this. What are your thoughts on what comes next here?
Real reform would be that we never, ever allow our intelligence communities to investigate political campaigns. So I'm for banning that completely. We should never allow our intelligence community and all their secret power and their secret courts to do what they did to President Trump to someone else. And I encourage the president to veto this. Veto this unless it fixes that. I have an amendment that says Americans should not be investigated by the secret court because it is not constitutional. It's okay for foreigners, but it is not okay for Americans, and particularly for American political campaigns. So I ban it outright, and we just take all of that out of FISA, and we only use FISA for foreign intelligence, not to spy on American campaigns. Other people have some, I think, window dressing kind of reforms, but I don't think they're enough, and I think we'll still get what happened to President Trump again. So I hope he vetoes any of this weak sauce or fake reform.
Got it. Senator, good to see you back, healthy, back to work on Capitol Hill. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.